GitHub Copilot and VS Code MSSQL extension. Learn all about Ask Mode, Agent Mode, Slash commands, and more this week on Data Exposed. Hi, I'm Anna Hoffman, and welcome to this episode of Data Exposed. Today, we have a super exciting developer oriented episode where we're going to be talking about VS Code, specifically the MSSQL extension, and some exciting stuff happening in that space. And to do that, I've brought on Carlos, who is the product leader for all of our efforts in VS Code. And Carlos, welcome back to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
It's great to have you. And we'll put a link in the description below for folks if you want to see the previous episode we did with Carlos. But one of the last things we hinted at was the roadmap around some AI stuff. So
Mhm.
I'd love to just get right into it. What's new in the MSSQL extension? What's this GitHub Copilot thing and how does it work for us? And anything else cool you got up your sleeves?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, super excited. As you said last time, you asked me about it, and this time I'm super honored to be here and be able to show you how this works. So yeah, this episode is going to be hopefully this episode is going to be mostly focusing on GitHub Copilot. So yeah, let me show you how it works because that's the best way to understand how this experience works in the extension. Obviously, I already have the extension installed and I have a couple of databases here. My main database I will or my main connection I will be using today is called GitHub Copilot. So that's the profile name. In this local container, which is a container I have running on my machine, I have multiple databases as you can see. So if we go straight to work with GitHub Copilot, there are many ways you can do it. If you're very familiar with GitHub Copilot and VS Code, you might open the window here and start engaging with Copilot. We introduce a different way as well in case you really want it. You can have like the context of the database set from the very beginning just by doing a right click. So let's do it. So right here, this is Object Explorer, and I'm going to do a right click, and you can see that there are a couple of options here. One says GitHub Copilot in Ask mode, so that's what I'm going to go with, or I can go with GitHub Copilot in Agent mode. When I select this mode, and let me just move things around, you can see that I get this greeting message saying, "Hey, I'm ready here to help you." The context of my connection is given by the database I selected. So yeah, it's basically ready to go. As any chat participant, uh, you need to engage by using the at, right? So in this case, it's at MSQL, but you don't have to type it over and over again. It's just like by default there because I started like this session in that context. So yeah, that's kind of a getting started step. From here, I can just start interacting with my database. In this case, you can see that I'm connected to library here. And this is something very important, and I need to mention this. The context of GitHub Copilot to understand the database is given by this open editor. So if I close the editor, that's not going to work. Of course, agent mode is a little bit different, and I will show you that we don't have that requirement for agent mode, but for at least for ask mode, that's required. So yeah, I'm ready to go, and I can ask simple question like list all my tables. Very simple, I know, but yeah, sometimes you don't feel like using OE, right? Because I can just do it, like just clicking here in OE
Right.
and look at yeah. So, but sometimes you don't feel like I just want an answer really quick. And in that regards, and you asked me something at the beginning, like what is this about? Like what we're doing with GitHub Copilot. It's not just about answering the questions here, right? So it's not just about that. So it can help you to, for example, if you want to write queries, if you want to create or generate mockup data for your application and your seeding your tables in your databases, that's something you can do. You can understand about existing projects, and that's something very common in scenario lots of developers are always facing with. It's like I need to get up to speed with this project. What do I do? And here I have I would say a good example of that. Somebody told me, hey Carlos, in this library database there is a store procedure, and right now I'm just clicking here in
Mhm.
OE and you see that I have a stored procedure. I'm not very good at T-SQL. I'm more an ORM guy, I'm more an application development guy. So how do I understand what's going on with this stored procedure? I have multiple options here. The first one, I can just simply script out the object, right? So here's my object, and I can just start reading the T-SQL understanding, excuse me, what's going on. Or I can do something very simple here. You'll see that after I select the entire object and I do right click, I got this option that says MSSQL Copilot. And there are three options I can select from here. One is to explain the query, the second is to rewrite the query. And the third, as you can see, is to analyze the query performance. So this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, I'm not very familiar. How can I get more with GitHub Copilot? And this is it. So you can see that after I ask to Copilot to assist me reading the stored procedure and understanding what's going on, I get an explanation of a business logic. What is the purpose of this sort of procedure? What is the business logic? Because again, I'm not very into T-SQL, so I need to understand how this translates when I probably use something different. So it's super handy, as you can see. It provides a lot of information, even example about the outputs and everything. But this is not what I want, right? So I want to understand for sure, but I want to solve a problem. So if I select this other option that says analyze query performance, it will be different. The result that I will get from GitHub Copilot is different. And behind the scenes, what we're doing is you can think about this as a shortcut. We're setting the context for Copilot about what we want. And we're saying, hey, Copilot, please provide us with an analysis, provide us with some recommendations about this stored procedure. So it's kind of a template that will provide you all the information about that stored procedure. So let me, yeah, sorry, the screen,
No worries.
I just reached it again. There we go. Um, so that's, I was saying that will allow me to understand what is the problem and come up with some solutions. So you see potential bottlenecks over there, optimization suggestions, and of course, this is very important here, Anna. Like, I cannot blindly make these changes. I need to review the changes here. Copilot can make mistakes, and this is super important for all our developers out there that yes, this is good, but we need to test it, right? So we need to make sure we do the right call. But yeah, you can see that very easily. I can get information about my database, my schema, understand my potential problems. So you might be wondering, as mode, right? So we have agent mode. Yes, we support both. That's a question we always get. Like, hey, do you guys support agent mode? Yes, we do. Before I jump into agent mode, I want to show you something very cool.
Cool.
Again,
Yeah, I'd love to take a look. And while you get your screen back up, I think the scenario there, which I love, is like, hey, I have this database I've inherited or I'm using for my application. Maybe it's slow, and this just makes it that much easier for me to kind of investigate what's going on or learn about the database. So I love it. I love to see it. So that's ask mode. So then when it comes to agent mode, how does that work?
yeah. So before we jump into, let me show you something else we just introduced
Okay.
during the last release, and it's super cool. It's very easy. You might be wondering, okay, you're working with a single database. How do I change databases, right? So I can just simply change the context here on this editor, and that would be it. But we don't feel like users to do it. So we introduce slash commands. So slash commands, you can think about it as shortcuts. So for example, I have a shortcut here that says change database. So if I uh, select that option, I can change the context of my session here to a different database. And I'm now connected to PokeWiki, so I can start asking questions. Again, I'm not very familiar with the database. Probably I have a list of functions here that will allow me to understand what is in this database. So I can start exploring the schema. So you see that I'm not typing anymore. So I'm not typing as when we started this session, I was typing list my tables, list like I can do that using slash command. So it's super simple, super handy. So I really like
Love it.
it. So yeah. So speaking about agent mode is a little bit different, and I think I have a scenario here. So let me close everything so we can make some space. All right. So for agent mode, I have this kind of a scenario that is very common when you're working on an application. In this case, this application is about FabCon. So it's a very simple FabCon application that will list the speakers and the agenda. And it started as a napkin or whiteboard idea, and this is it. This is what I was given. Like, Carlos, we want to build this. And I was like, okay, I can probably work on the front end very easily and get a front end created. And the instruction I was given is like, yeah, we want to use SQL database in Fabric for our backend database. We want to use GraphQL. And I was like, okay, so let me start by designing the app, designing the API, so I can start like creating different diagrams. So I have a bunch of diagrams here, mermaid diagrams that represents the flow and the components of my app. So you see like, oops, let me just move around here. Yeah, I have a Next.js and my Next.js application is up and running, and I want to create a GraphQL endpoint to return the data. So I have a very detailed plan here. And if I want to Copilot to assist me building this, I have to provide that information to Copilot. And that's a perfect scenario for agent mode. So let me switch to agent mode. All right. So as I said, this is the perfect scenario for agent mode, but I have to provide agent mode with all the information. And one of the key things I have here, and I forgot to mention that, is my schema design. So remember, everything started with a concept. This is a proof of concept, an idea. I have my schema here represented in this diagram. So why not providing that information to GitHub Copilot in agent mode to help me build this backend for me? So if we engage on agent mode, let's create a new session here. And we're going to delete the chat participant because we don't need it anymore. I can, and let me do full screen here. I can, and I have this very detailed prompt that provides GitHub Copilot the information I want to share. For example, I'm saying this is my project. I have the front end already built in. My goal is to provide this experience. And you can use, and this is very important, you can use, remember, I show you the flow design, and I
Nice.
also show you the schema here. And also, I have a screenshot, so I can open this screenshot really quick. This is a screenshot of my app. My app is running, but I feel like it's easier for me to provide a screenshot to GitHub Copilot just to build the schema for me. So if I drop that, let me just the schema design whiteboard. Yeah. If I drop that context to GitHub Copilot, it will understand what I want. And I'm saying, yeah, my backend database is going to be SQL database in Fabric and everything else. And right now, yes, it got the idea. These are the core entities. Those entities will be translated to database tables. So with the next prompt right here, this is when I'm going to start building things from the database side. And I'm saying, and this is very important, Anna,
Mm.
depending on what you want to do, you can go with T-SQL, you can go with ORM. It's up to your personal preference. Here, as I said at the beginning, I feel more comfortable with ORM, so why not, right? So I'm saying I want to use SQLite for my database. I want to use AD authentication. Here are the different models I want you to create. So if after I submit the request here for GitHub Copilot, GitHub Copilot is going to start building that backend for me. But there is one thing, I don't have a database. Remember, I show you this. I have multiple databases and I don't have a database created here. So yeah, Copilot will start like building the backend, providing me the code
Mhm.
and everything. How do I can like create that database really quick? So I have multiple options, of course. One I want to show you, which oops, it's super cool. Right now is saying that this session is taken. We'll have to make a pause here for Copilot to finish all this stuff. Sorry about that. And then I can answer that question about the database. Let me see if I can find, I'll try to find a transition. What we might need to wait a little bit for Copilot to finish creating all these different models I asked for. But once it's done, we'll come back and we'll ask Copilot to assist us creating the database and digging a little bit more into the details of this database that we want to build. All right, so GitHub Copilot is done creating all the different files I need to include in my project to make it work with an ORM. We can see here that it created SQLite schema for my speakers table, sessions, and agendas. So
Wow.
this is looking good. So I get the code created, but I don't have the database as I mentioned. So I can ask here Copilot to assist me creating the database for me in local mode. So remember, I have this local container. So I can simply say using MSSQL tools, and this is super important. In agent mode, you have different tools, right? So for MSSQL, you will see that we have a collection of different tools, which are basically actions that you can do: run queries, connect. Remember what I show you on in slash commands? Very similar, very similar. So agent is going to use those tools, and I'm going to say using MSSQL tools, create, create a new database, call it favcon. I'm not, as you can see, I'm super ambiguous on my prompt here, and that's on purpose because I want GitHub Copilot in agent mode to figure out where's my database and everything else. So you see, the first thing it's doing is listing the connections. And this is using what you have here
Hmm.
on your OE, on your profiles. And right now, I'm going to say, yeah, list all the different connections. It's simple as listing the different profiles and identifying which one to pick to connect to a database. And right now, you can see that says, okay, I see that you have a local, you're connected to a SQL server. And let me just go to full screen here. This is the port. And yeah, I can allow this. And this is super important. We documented this. It's up to you to allow GitHub Copilot to do certain things. You can say, yes, do this on this session, allow that workspace level. For now, I would say like allow this session. So yeah, all good. Connect to these local database, and let's see if it's capable to create a database. And right now, this is another very cool thing that I really like about GitHub Copilot, that is telling you what's going to do. So right here it says, yeah, I'm going to run this query. So yeah, that feels safe for me. Like this totally, I'm totally fine. So it's up to the user to reject or approve the different options that Copilot is going to take. And right now, apparently it's done. And if I click allow once again, it should list the different databases. That's what it's trying to do. I created the database, and now if we explore what was done here, it was basically returning the list of databases. And so, yeah, super easy. Now you can see that I have a database called Favcon. So if I decide from here I can start like building my app and pushing those migrations that were created using SQLize to my schema, synchronizes the schema back and forth. But what happens when you're working on this project, and this is the last one, a project that already exists? Remember the scenario I shared before? Like I have these existing like project. I don't know much about it. How do I get up to speed really quick? There is one thing really cool here that you can do to, and remember we were like listing stuff, understanding different objects on my database, but why not like looking at that schema using a visual diagram? So if I go here and I said show me the schema diagram for the PokeWiki database. My Favcon database it was created but has nothing. It's empty, right? So I'm going to use this other database to for a different project, just for an example, to show you that you can achieve even more with agent asking questions, but also taking advantage of different or existing features in the MSSQL extension as a schema designer. So voila, you can see like it was super easy. I just asked, show me the schema. Boom, I got the schema. Can I make
Cool.
changes here? Yes, you can. So yeah, this is how you can take advantage of GitHub Copilot in agent in asking agent mode. We have other features that hopefully we'll be able to show you in like show here in the future, or in case you are up to, I can do it right now. It's simple. It's super simple.
Okay, you have me. I'm enthralled. Show me what else there is, but quick, so we can.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we have something new. Remember, I created a database using Copilot, right?
Mhm.
But I need something. I need a container to create a database. So we introduced these two new experiences in the extension where you can create a container without leaving VS Code. So right here with this wizard, it is going to identify if Docker is running, if Docker is ready to go, configure, and with just a few clicks, you can create a local container. And the same goes for a SQL database in Fabric. So I'm not going to create a container, just going to go through the experience so you can see with basically 2 clicks. Right here, my account is already here. I can just provide a database name, a profile name, and after filling those required parameters here, I'm all set. So whether you decide to use GitHub Copilot to assist you working with local stuff or also probably things on the cloud, you can take advantage also of this new feature in the MSSQL extension to deploy or provision databases locally using containers or SQL database in Fabric. So yeah, super quick.
Awesome. I love it. I learned a lot today, and I'm so excited to go try it out myself in VS Code and MSSQL. And I hope other folks are as well. Carlos, I know we're over time, but I have just one more question I have to ask you, a
Sure.
question of the people, and that's around Azure Data Studio retirement. How should people think about VS Code and MSSQL and what we're bringing from ADS versus what we're not, and how they should think about that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I'm glad you asked that question because I believe many of our users had the same question. So as we put it on our open roadmap, our goal is not to MS SQL to be a like for like replacement for ADS. Some of the experiences that you were familiar in ADS are being ported to the extension already, and we're still working to bring some of the experiences that many users are asking for. For example, backup and restore, backpack, or the other is import flat files into a single table. So yes, rest assured that we're working on some of the experiences, but as I said, it's not a like for like, it's a different take. Why? Because we want to provide a little different experience tailored to developers. For example, the container stuff, GitHub Copilot. So uh, prioritizing different features we're going to land into the extension allows us to do more for you. And this is all based on feedback. So yeah, rest assured that we will do our best to bring all these experiences you love into the MSSQL extension. And it will happen before we retire ideas for sure.
Awesome. Great. Well, Carlos, thanks again so much for coming on the show. To our viewers, if you like this episode, go ahead, give it a like, leave us a comment, and let us know what your favorite thing was and what you plan to do with GitHub Copilot and MSSQL. And we'll put some links in the description for you to learn more. And we hope to see you next time on Data Exposed.